Part-2. Word traveled fast at Zenith Academy. By dinnertime, every cadet knew about the human who had dropped Draxenkel in seconds and punched Commander Vorik hard enough to draw blood. The stories grew with each retelling. Some said she had broken Draxen's arm. Others claimed she had knocked Vorik unconscious. A few swore she had done it all while blindfolded and reciting poetry. Kira ignored the stares as she entered the dining hall. Grabbed another tray of terrible synthetic food. Headed for her usual corner table. It was occupied. A female cadet sat there, pale blue skin marked with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed gently. Aquarian. A water world species. She had large eyes that could see into the ultraviolet spectrum, webbed fingers, and gills that filtered oxygen from water or air with equal efficiency. Her name tag read Lisa Tane. "This seat taken?" Kira asked. Lisa looked up, her face splitting into a sharp-toothed smile. "Only if you are willing to share your table with someone who bet 50 credits on you this morning. Made quite a profit off Draxen's humiliation. Thank you for that, by the way." Kira sat down. "You bet on me? You did not even know me." "Exactly. Everyone else bet on the obvious choice. Big, strong Velker warrior versus tiny soft human. The odds were fantastic. 30-1. I figured either I would lose 50 credits or I would make 1,500. Worth the risk. That is actually pretty smart. I am an economics major. Risk assessment is literally my specialty." Lisa pushed a second tray toward Kira. "Also, I grabbed you the chicken option instead of the mystery protein blend. It is only slightly less awful." Kira tried it. Lisa was right. "Why are you being nice to me?" "Because you made the most powerful cadet in our class look like an idiot in front of everyone. That makes you either very brave or very stupid, and I prefer to befriend brave people before they get themselves killed." Lisa's bioluminescent patterns shifted to a warm amber. "Also, I did my research on humans after you arrived. Your species is fascinating. You basically domesticated wolves into dogs through selective friendship. That is insane. Wait until you hear about cats." "Oh, I read about cats." "You domesticated obligate carnivores that routinely kill for fun, and then you let them live in your homes and post pictures of them on your information networks. Humans are either the bravest species in the galaxy or have a collective death wish. Little bit of both, honestly." They ate in companionable silence for a moment. Then Lisa's expression grew serious. "Fair warning. Draxen is planning something. He spent the afternoon in the simulation room with 5 other cadets. They are calling themselves the Honor Guard. Pretentious name for a gang of bullies, if you ask me. Let me guess. They want a rematch. Worse. They want to humiliate you. Make an example. Show everyone that this morning was a fluke." Lisa's patterns darkened to concerned purple. Draxen's pride is wounded. Velkas take honor very seriously. He will not stop until he feels he has restored his reputation. Kira finished her terrible chicken. "Then I guess I will have to disappoint him again." "You are not worried?" "Lisa, I grew up in a place where fire ants can cause anaphylactic shock, where funnel web spiders can kill you in 15 minutes, and where drop bears are an actual thing despite what the internet says." "What is a drop bear?" "Exactly my point. I learned a long time ago that the most dangerous things are usually the ones you do not see coming. So yeah, I am worried. But worry and fear are not the same thing. Worry makes you cautious. Fear makes you stupid." Lisa's patterns brightened with something like admiration. "I like you, Kira Vale. Try not to die before you pay me back for this chicken." Deal. The next 3 days followed a brutal pattern. Physical conditioning at dawn. Tactical simulations in the morning. Weapons training after lunch. Strategy and theory in the evening. Every instructor pushed them hard, but Kira noticed they pushed her harder. Extra laps during conditioning runs. More difficult scenarios in the simulations. Longer hours on the training range. She understood why. They were testing her limits. Seeing where the human would break. She did not break. On the 3rd night, exhausted and sore, Kira returned to her dormitory to find her door had been forced open. Her room was trashed. Clothes scattered. Desk overturned. The photo of her family was torn in half. The stone from home was missing. But worst of all, her grandfather's knife was gone. She stood in the doorway, fists clenched, breathing slowly. Deliberately. The kind of slow breathing you do when you are trying very hard not to lose control. Lisa appeared beside her, her patterns flashing angry red. "Draxen. Has to be. Where is he? Kira. Think about this. If you go after him now, you will be playing into his hands. He wants you angry. Wants you to make a mistake. Then he should not have touched my family. There was something in Kira's voice. Something cold and ancient and very, very dangerous. Lisa took an involuntary step back. What are you going to do? Find him. Get my things back. And teach him a lesson about boundaries. She found Draxon in the rec room, surrounded by his honor guard. 6 cadets total, including Sethys the Kryn and a massive Kronar female named Thessa who looked like she could bench press a shuttle. They were laughing, passing around Kira's grandfather's knife, examining it with mocking interest. Primitive, Draxon was saying. Just sharpened metal. No plasma edge. No molecular vibration. No wonder humans needed so long to develop spaceflight. They were still playing with sharp sticks. Kira walked into the rec room. Every conversation stopped. Cadets backed away, sensing the coming storm. Give it back, Kira said quietly. Draxon turned, all 4 arms spreading wide in mock surprise. Oh look. The little Deathworlder finally shows some emotion. What is wrong, Terran? Mad that we borrowed your toy. That knife belonged to my grandfather. He carried it in 3 wars. It has been in my family for 4 generations. So I am going to ask you one more time, very politely. Give it back. Or what? Draxon tossed the knife to Thessa. You will punch another instructor? Maybe this time, they will actually expel you. Save us all the trouble of watching you fail out. Kira's hands relaxed. Her breathing steadied. Anyone who knew combat really knew it, would have recognized the signs. The calm before violence. The moment when a fighter stops thinking and starts acting. I challenged you to honorable combat 3 days ago and you embarrassed me in front of everyone, Draxon continued. So now I am going to return the favor. Tomorrow, during free combat training, I am going to break you. In front of the entire academy. And there is nothing you can do about it because it will be sanctioned, legal, and educational. He smiled, showing too many teeth. Unless you want to fight me right here, right now. But that would be against the academy rules. Unsanctioned combat. Automatic expulsion. So what will it be, Deathworlder? Going to throw away your future for a piece of scrap metal? Kira looked at him. Then at Thessa, holding her knife. The N at the 5 other members of the honor guard. She calculated odds, angles, and distances. Thought about her grandfather, who had stormed beaches and jumped from planes and never, ever backed down from a fight. Thought about what he would do. Then she did something unexpected. She laughed. Not a nervous laugh or a scared laugh. A genuine, from-the-belly laugh that echoed through the rec room. You know what is funny? She said, wiping her eyes. You think you are the first bully I have ever met. You think this intimidation routine is new to me. But I grew up in public schools on Earth. Do you have any idea how brutal human teenagers are to each other? We have an entire documented phenomenon called bullying that psychologists have been studying for decades. You are not even creative, Draxon. You are just big and loud and predictable. His face darkened. You dare. Oh, I dare. I absolutely dare. Because tomorrow, during free combat training, I am going to accept your challenge. And I am going to beat you again. But this time, I am going to do it in front of everyone. And when I am done, when you are lying on that mat for the 2nd time, you are going to give me back my knife, apologize for invading my personal space, and we are going to be done with this stupid feud. Sound good? Silence. Then Thessa laughed, a deep booming sound. I like her. She has a spine. Sethys hissed in agreement. This should be entertaining at least. Draxon's 4 hands clenched into fists. Fine. Tomorrow. Free combat. No rules except stay inside the ring. We fight until someone cannot continue. Perfect. Kira turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Draxon? Tonight, you might want to look up some human history. Read about Thermopylae. Read about Stalingrad. Read about every single time in our history that someone big and powerful thought they could crush someone smaller and weaker. Spoiler alert. It does not usually end well for the big guy. She walked out. Behind her, the rec room erupted in whispers. That night, Kira could not sleep. She lay in her repaired room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow. About the fight. About what it meant. This was not about a knife anymore. Not really. This was about respect. About proving that humans belonged here. That Deathworlders were not just lucky survivors but warriors worth standing beside. A soft knock on her door. She opened it to find Lisa, carrying 2 bottles of that awful blue beverage and a datapad. Could not sleep either? Lisa said. Something like that. They sat on Kira's bed, drinking terrible alien soda, and Lisa pulled up footage from the Academy archives. I have been doing research. Draxon has fought in 37 sanctioned matches. Won 34. Lost 2. 1 draw. Who beat him? A Korthian Pain Mage and a Zenthari Blade Master. Both graduated in the top 5% of their class. Both had years more training than you. Lisa's patterns shifted to worried blue. Kira, he is really good. Strong. Fast. And he will have been training specifically to counter your techniques. I know. So what is your plan? Kira smiled. Do you know what humans are really good at? Besides domesticating predators and surviving on nightmare planets? Adaptation. We are not the strongest species. Not the fastest. Not the smartest or the toughest. But we are the best at changing our tactics mid-fight. At learning from mistakes. Doing unexpected things that our opponents cannot predict. She took a long drink. Draxon is expecting me to fight like I did 3 days ago. So I am going to fight differently. How? You will see. Free combat training took place in the main arena at 1400 hours. By 1330, every seat was filled. Word had spread beyond just the first-year cadets. Upperclassmen attended. Instructors watched from the observation deck. Even Counselor Thresh floated in, his bioluminescent form pulsing with curiosity. Commander Vorik stood in the center of the ring, his expression neutral. Cadet Vale. Cadet Kell. You have both agreed to sanction free combat under Academy rules. Is this correct? Yes, sir, they said in unison. The rules are simple. Fight until submission, unconsciousness, or I stop it. Lethal force is prohibited. Permanent injury is prohibited. Everything else is fair game. Medical teams are standing by. Any questions? Kira raised her hand. Sir, what about weapons? Standard issue training weapons are permitted. Knives. Batons. Shock staff. All set to training mode. Kira nodded. Thank you, sir. Draxon smiled. He had not expected her to ask about weapons. Humans were supposed to be brawlers, using primitive hand-to-hand techniques. This was going to be easier than he thought. Vorik gestured to the equipment rack. Arm yourselves. Draxon selected a shock staff, a baton, and 2 fighting knives. 4 weapons for 4 hands. Maximum advantage. Kira walked to the rack and selected a single training knife. Nothing else. The crowd murmured. Lisa, sitting in the front row, put her face in her hands. Vorik raised his hand. Combatants ready? They nodded. Begin. Draxon came at her like a whirlwind. All 4 weapons were moving in patterns, creating a cage of strikes that was nearly impossible to penetrate. He had clearly trained for this. Practiced. He was not going to make the same mistake twice. Kira backed away. Gave ground. Let him press his advantage. The crowd started to mutter. Was she scared? Running? Then Draxon overextended. Just slightly. Just enough. Kira dropped low, under his weapons, and swept his leg. But this time he was ready. He jumped over the sweep, brought his shock staff down in a devastating overhead strike. She was not there. She had rolled aside, come up in a crouch, and thrown her training knife. Not at Draxon. At his shocking staff. The knife hit the staff mid-swing, knocking it off trajectory. The staff hit the mat instead of her head. Before Draxon could recover, Kira was inside his guard. She grabbed his lower right wrist, the one holding a knife, and twisted. Applied pressure to the joint. Not enough to break it, but enough to force his fingers open. The knife clattered to the mat. She kicked it away. Draxon roared, trying to grab her with his free hands. She ducked under his upper arms, drove her elbow into his ribs, once, twice, 3 times. Heard him grunt in pain. Used the moment of distraction to strip another weapon, the baton this time. Now they were even. 2 weapons each. They circled. Draxon was breathing hard, his exoskeleton plates flushed darker with exertion and anger. Kira was calm. Focused. Waiting. He attacked again. More cautious this time. Probing strikes. Testing her defense. She parried with the baton, redirected with her free hand. Gave ground strategically. Made him work for every inch. The fight dragged on. 3 minutes. 5. 7. The crowd was silent now, watching intently. This was not the quick, brutal match they had expected. This was technical. Strategic. A chess match with fists and weapons. And slowly, gradually, Draxen began to tire. His species was strong, but endurance was not their specialty. For arms meant more muscle mass, which meant more oxygen consumption. His breathing became labored. His strikes lost their snap. Kira noticed. Of course she noticed. She had been waiting for this. Humans were persistent hunters. This was what they did. They wore you down. Outlasted you. Waited for the moment when fatigue made you slow, made you sloppy, made you vulnerable. The moment came. Draxen lunged with both knives, a desperation move, trying to end the fight quickly before exhaustion claimed him. Kira sidestepped, brought her baton down on his upper left wrist. He dropped a knife. She followed with a low kick to his knee. He stumbled. She disarmed his remaining knife with a wrist lock, then swept his legs out from under him. He fell hard. She was on him immediately. Baton across his throat. Not choking him, not hurting him. Just controlling him. Pinning him. Her face was inches from his. Yield, she said quietly. Draxen struggled. Tried to buck her off. But she had all the leverage. All the positions. And he had nothing left. His forearms pushed weakly against her. His breath came in ragged gasps. Yield, she repeated. For a long moment, pride and exhaustion warred on his face. Then finally, he tapped the mat 3 times. The universal signal. I yield. Kira released him immediately. Stood up. Offered her hand. After a moment's hesitation, he took it. She pulled him to his feet. They stood there, both breathing hard, covered in sweat, and looked at each other with new understanding. Good fight, Kira said. Draxen nodded slowly. Good fight. The arena erupted. Cadets cheered, shouted, stomped their feet, or whatever appendages they used for stomping. Lisa was jumping up and down, her patterns flashing victory gold. Commander Vorik stepped into the ring. Cadet Kell. You fought with honor and skill. Cadet Vale. You demonstrated superior tactics, endurance, and adaptability. Well done to both of you. He turned to address the crowd. Let this be another lesson. Combat is not always about who is strongest or who has the most weapons. It is about who can adapt, who can endure, and who wants it more. Dismissed. As the crowd dispersed, Draxen reached into his equipment pouch and pulled out Kira's grandfather's knife. Held it out to her. I should not have taken this. It was dishonorable. I apologize. Kira accepted it, relief flooding through her. Apology accepted. You were right. I read about human history last night. About those battles you mentioned. Your species is. He searched for the word terrifying. Only when you make us mad. A smile tugged at his mouth. I will remember that. He extended his upper right hand in the Velker gesture of respect. You are a worthy opponent, Kira Vale. I would be honored to train with you in the future. If you will have me. She shook his hand. I would like that. Over the following weeks, something changed at Zenith Academy. Kira was no longer the curiosity, the soft human who did not belong. She was the cadet who had beaten Draxen Kell twice. The Deathworlder who had punched an instructor and lived to tell about it. The human who never quit, never backed down, never gave up. Other cadets started seeking her out. Asking for training tips. Wanting to spar. Lisa became her constant companion, the two of them forming a friendship that transcended species. Even Draxen, once her bully, became an ally. They trained together, pushed each other, and learned from each other. The instructors noticed. Commander Vorik paid particular attention, sometimes joining their training sessions, teaching them advanced techniques that were not part of the standard curriculum. He had served with humans before. He knew their potential. And he was determined to help Kira reach hers. One evening, 6 weeks into the semester, Kira stood on the observation deck overlooking the academy grounds. The sun was setting over Salora Prime, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. So different from Earth's sunsets, but beautiful in its own way. Lisa joined her, carrying 2 bottles of that terrible blue beverage that they had somehow grown fond of. Thinking deep thoughts? Just reflecting. This morning, I ran the obstacle course in 4 minutes flat. New academy record for first-year cadets. I heard. The upperclassmen are terrified of you. Good.
Keeps them honest.
Kira took a drink. You know what is funny? When I first got here, I was angry. Angry at the stares. The whispers. The way everyone assumed I was weak. And now? Now I realized they did not know any better. They had never met a human before. Never met someone from a Deathworld. Their assumptions were based on ignorance, not malice.
She smiled.
Well, except for Draxon. His assumptions were definitely based on malice.
Lisa laughed. He has changed though.
Last week, he defended you when some third-year cadets were talking trash. Told them if they had a problem with humans, they could take it up with him personally.
I heard about that.
I will have to thank him. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the alien sunset, drinking terrible alien soda. Two cadets from completely different worlds, brought together by circumstance and mutual respect. Kira, Lisa said quietly. Do you ever regret coming here?
Not for a second.
This is where I need to be. Humans are new to the galactic stage. We have to prove ourselves. Show everyone that we belong among the stars. That we are not just monsters from a nightmare planet. We are warriors. Explorers. Survivors. And we are here to stay. You make it sound like a mission.
It is.
Every human who leaves Earth represents our entire species. We carry that responsibility. And yeah, sometimes it is heavy. Sometimes it is hard. But nothing worth doing is ever easy. Lisa's patterns shifted to proud amber. For what it is worth, you are doing an excellent job. You have changed a lot of minds here. Mine included. When I first saw you, I thought you looked fragile. Breakable. Now I know better. Humans are not fragile. You are flexible. There is a difference. I like that. Flexible, not fragile. I am going to remember that.
A chime sounded. Dinner hour.
They headed toward the dining hall together, talking and laughing, just two friends at the end of a long day. Behind them, the alien sun dipped below the horizon, and somewhere on Earth, another sunset painted another sky. Different colors, different world, but the same human spirit that had looked up at the stars for thousands of years and wondered what was out there. Now Kira knew. And she was exactly where she belonged. 3 months into her first year at Zenith Academy, Kira Vale sat in the strategy classroom, listening to senior instructor Kalas lecture about orbital assault tactics. She took notes, asked questions, and participated like any other cadet. But inside, she smiled. Because she had done it. She had proven that humans belonged here. That Deathworlders were not just survivors but warriors. That soft skin and lack of natural weapons did not mean weakness. It meant adaptability. It meant intelligence. It meant the kind of determination that only came from a species that had clawed its way to the top of the most dangerous food chain in known space. The instructor who had hit her first learned that lesson the hard way. So did the bully who thought he could intimidate her. And so would anyone else who made the mistake of underestimating a human. Because Earth did not raise its children to be victims. It raised them to be survivors. And survivors always found a way to win. Outside the classroom window, stars glittered in the velvet darkness of space. Millions of worlds. Billions of beings. An entire galaxy waiting to be explored, protected, and understood. And somewhere out there, other humans were having their own adventures, fighting their own battles, proving their own worth. Kira Vale was just one human. One cadet. One Deathworlder among thousands. But she was making a difference. Changing minds. Breaking stereotypes. Showing the galaxy what humanity could do. And she was just getting started. The instructor hit her first. She hit back harder. And in doing so, she taught everyone at Zenith Academy the most important lesson of all. Never underestimate a Deathworld girl. Like and subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments how you liked this story.